about fears. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I got fears, but I ain't got no love.
I'm going to move on to episode 3 where, I'm not even going to talk a little bit about some of the Lover's Lane murders that he thinks that Eddie Edwards did that others were convicted on. But this episode 3, he says that Eddie Edwards did the Atlanta child murders. Just totally speechless. Okay, so I'm trying to look at it with open eyes. And I say, show me the evidence. If there's evidence, then, okay, I'll jump on board. There was an anonymous letter sent to the newspaper or the police in 1981 which resembled Zodiac. Eddie Edwards had a van. Some theorize this person, the Atlanta child murders, had a van. Eddie Edwards was racist. Had to be a racist guy to kill all these black kids. And Eddie Edwards lived in Atlanta. That's your tie? That's why? There is hundreds of thousands of people living in Atlanta. A lot of them are racist. A lot of them drive a van. Now you say that he had a cop's uniform in a house that he burnt down for insurance money back in Pennsylvania. And he used this uniform to draw these kids into his van to kill them. All I can say is this is for TV. Why they're in Atlanta on this TV show? They're in they're in Atlanta. Somehow they make a connection to Marietta, Georgia, and say, well, JonBenet's buried here. Now there's a link to JonBenet. JonBenet was seeing Santa. Okay, remember all this stuff in my other video about JonBenet? Man, this is just difficult to talk about. And I have written down here, I find myself getting angry. Just because it's so far-fetched. He's saying now that Eddie Edwards dressed up as Santa, knocked on the door at JonBenet's house, and was let in by JonBenet, and he killed her. Oh. And there was a flashlight connection. Okay, this is the most ridiculous thing. So when Eddie Edwards was locked up in a prison, he supposedly made his wife get a trailer right outside of that prison. This is in the 60s, maybe early 50s. And he would communicate with her because he could see her doorway. He would flash a flashlight in his cell. Why they were allowed to have flashlights in their cell, I don't know. And she would hit the porch light and they would communicate back and forth. According to Cameron, there was a flashlight left at JonBenet's that's unaccounted for, or you know what I mean. If you see my video, you know. The JonBenet flashlight that more than likely was used to hit her over the head. He's saying that was Eddie Edwards' flashlight, and he was outside signaling the same way to JonBenet. Man, boy, am I getting frustrated. There's no evidence of that. What are you talking about? Go on to episode 4. Just when you think it can't get any more ridiculous, it can't, right? Oh, it does. Now Eddie Edwards has done time in Lewisburg State Penitentiary, which is right down the road from me. I'm very familiar with it. I've been in there lots of time, interviewed criminals in there. And his cellmate was Jimmy Hoffa. Now this is according to Eddie Edwards' own autobiography that he had wrote. Now, let's know that Eddie Edwards is a known con man. He's a known liar. I would want to see evidence that he was his cellmate. He might have been there at the same time. Maybe. But according to Edwards, they were friends. Jimmy Hoffa was friends with Eddie Edwards. Now you know where this is going. Right. Are you rolling your eyes yet? Do me a favor. If you are believing so far that Eddie Edwards is the Zodiac Killer, the Atlanta child killer, JonBenet Ramsey murderer, just go ahead and click off, okay? Because, man, I don't know. Maybe I just don't want crazies on my channel, okay? Eddie Edwards meets Jimmy Hoffa at a restaurant and kills him. They made this into a TV show, folks. Can you believe this? What was the motive? According to Cameron, Jimmy Hoffa, when Eddie Edwards got paroled, he went and thanked Jimmy Hoffa because he somehow thought Jimmy Hoffa helped him get his parole. He said to him, "I would kiss you on your forehead right now if I could," or something. That's how happy I am. And Jimmy Hoffa called him, "I don't want to be a homo," or something like that. And that was enough for Eddie Edwards to hold that resentment till he got out of prison for many years, to meet Jimmy Hoffa at a restaurant to murder him. Man, there are some crazy people out there. I don't want to say Cameron's crazy, okay? I don't know the guy. I kind of feel sorry for him if this is what he believes, if he truly believes this stuff. Alright, back to my notes. Because of a quote about a steak dinner in the book, Cameron believes he was meeting Hoffa at the restaurant. So I wrote, just because someone has a connection doesn't mean they murdered somebody.
Yeah, let's talk about